Welcome to Whiskey Hill Farms. This is an incredible one-of-a-kind property, and I am here with Farmer Dave, and he is going to talk a little bit about what makes this property so special.
Hi there, I'm Dave Blume, otherwise known as Farmer Dave, here at Whiskey Hill Farms, and we've been here 12 years developing this site. We do all kinds of things here, from events to growing specialty crops. We have 250,000 square feet of glass greenhouse. We grow all kinds of things here, including a tropical rainforest, which has 100 different species of fruiting plants in it that are unparalleled anywhere in the United States. We grow the stuff that matters. This is a tamarillo, sometimes called tree tomato. It's a native of the Andes at 7,000 feet in the elevation, which happens to be about the same climate as Santa Cruz. So I'm going to pull one off, so we can just take one of these and pop it in our mouth. Here, you can have that one. And you just squeeze it into your mouth. Pretty unique and good tasting.
So, how many varieties of tropical fruit are in this room? Tell me some of the fun stats. I know you've got some cool things going on in here.
100 different kinds of fruiting plants are here, and that's all we have in here. Everything you see behind me, all of this greenery, it all makes fruit. And we're continually adding new fruits every day, and we'd like to expand this part of the farm into more of this greenhouse and have even more tropical fruit.
One of the things that you told me that's really unique about your tropical fruit garden here is that you even have a few plants that are going extinct, and you might only have the only ones that are left.
That's right. Plant explorers are so impressed with what we're doing here that when they find a rare plant, they bring it to us and we replicate it so that it doesn't go extinct. In a couple of cases, we have the last one of its species in here, and we have now replicated in our whole process in the greenhouse so that now that plant can't ever go extinct. Other people can have some of those plants in their greenhouses. We're scientifically active in the preservation of fruit species worldwide.
That's amazing. I love that you're preserving and propagating plants that can now no longer be found anywhere besides the very room that we're standing in right now.
And eating them. We have a contract with a local organic distributor, and he's having us grow all kinds of wild different versions of zucchini, all different shapes and colors and all that. Because in the winter, he can't buy it anywhere because it's a warm weather crop, but in the greenhouses, we can get it to grow. So during the winter, it goes for like 3 times the price it does, you know, during the season when they can get it from anywhere.
So you've taken something that is typically a 1-season crop and turned it into a 3 or 4 season crop?
What we're doing is we're growing it in the season that no one else can, and we get much more money for it.
Gotcha.
Hola, Rigo. How's it going today? Good, thank you. This building is 5,000 square feet. The other one is 5,000 square feet. This one here is 1,500, but we don't want to look inside because it has all this junk from when I first moved in and never cleaned it out. This building here has a 4,000 gallon tank in it, and it's surrounded by straw bales, which make great insulation. So hot water left over from the alcohol plant goes into this tank at 150 degrees, and a week later, it's still 145 degrees because it's so well insulated. I'll show you how we use that hot water in the greenhouses coming up. this is where the gee whiz stuff is.
Yeah, this is like where it gets really cool. This is my favorite part.
Well, Ace, this is a small version of the big bladder that we have behind us, which we make methane. The methane is you take any plant matter that you have left over from the kitchen, whatever, and we put it into the tank in this big funnel here. And we push it down in under the water. And without air, this stuff all rots in a particular way and gives off methane. Methane is natural gas, you know. So you can see in the top, this is where the gas is, and then down here is the water where the food is being digested. So a lot of people do this at their cabins to have a regular supply of cooking fuel, and the amount of food people eat is enough to cook all their food with the gas made from it. The gas we've made comes right here to this stove, and I turn it on and flame on, you know. You might be able to see a little bit of, it's such a clean flame, there's almost no color.
There's also something going on here with the cattails. Can you tell me a little bit about this next phase of the way the system works here at the farm?
Well, you know, we never do anything for one purpose on this farm. There's always, everything is connected to the next thing. So after we go ahead and digest all that food that we throw in here until it's completely liquid, no solids left, and it overflows out of the bag into this marsh. Now, this marsh plant is used around the world now as a way of treating secondary sewage. After it's all broken down to a liquid, if I put it in at this end, by the time it gets to the other end, the plants have absorbed all the nutrients out, and you can actually discharge the water right into a river somewhere. It's so clean. So we do that here to show that the methane digester goo that's left over goes in here and is completely absorbed, and now we can get incredible fertilizer by juicing the leaves. And this fits into our fish fertilizer formula, which is the juiced leaves of cattails. Makes us quite unique. Why don't you look up at the roof here?
Yeah, why is it red just right here above the cattails?
These panels take the blue and yellow out and make it into electricity, and it goes into the grid and reduces our energy bill. So what we're doing is collecting the energy in the glass by grabbing the yellow and blue that the plants don't like. And so only the reds and stuff that make the plants grow without stressing them like the yellow and blue does, well, you know, we get to make money by making our plants happy.
One other thing that's really cool about what you've got going on here is you have your dry compost. We've got the wet compost that's creating methane, but you also have a dry compost outside, and that you're actually using to heat water that you then use to heat the greenhouses.
Over here you can see how we do that. And we could do this for heating a house too. You'll see all these were plastic tubes, and the compost pile here with the whole length of the greenhouse, 10 feet wide, 10 feet tall, and 100 feet long. That's a lot of compost. Now we call it fish and chips because, again, we have all that fish waste that we get on the property. We mix that with wood chips, and that's perfect for making compost. Now, when a compost pile is really going, like, you know, the first 3 days, it gets up to 140 degrees. The bacteria that are doing that use up all the oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. So when the pile is full of carbon dioxide, they all go to sleep. But what we do is we send air through these tubes into the pile with the tubes with holes in it, and it blows out all the carbon dioxide. So we don't have to turn the pile, we don't have to do any of that. It stays 140 degrees for 30 days until it's finished. We don't waste the heat. What we do with the heat is we heat water with it, and the water is then pumped into the greenhouse, and I'll show you how we heat the greenhouse with compost heated water.
Amazing.
Well, the hot water is right in this pipe. It goes down through this blue tube, goes 4 feet beneath the soil, goes all the way to the other side and back up again. And it heats the soil. The hot water goes through the tube and heats the soil. They suck it up inside themselves, so they're 70 degrees, even if the air outside here is like 25 degrees. So it totally frost-proofs them in our climate, and it costs 95% less than what the last farmer did to heat his greenhouse. Because heating the greenhouse wasn't the right approach. Heating the plants was. Let's see if there's any passion fruit that hasn't been picked. Everybody snacks on it here. The thing about passion fruit is it makes arguably the best tasting fruit on the planet. Everybody wants it. And it grows on the vine like this, and we can pull it off. And so the inside of the passion fruit is this beautiful jelly with some seeds in it that are soft. Go ahead and squirt that into your mouth and see what it tastes like.
My favorite.
Oh, it's amazing. We sell this for $12.50 a pound. We get about 40,000 pounds per acre, and it's perennial, keeps growing. We just prune it back every so often, and then we go ahead and dip this in some plant hormones, stick it in the soil, it sprouts roots, and then we can sell that for $10 to $25 to somebody who wants passion fruit at their house. And it takes several nights of sub-freezing weather, unlike most tropical passion fruits that don't.
I want to know your secret. You have an organic farm here. How do you do it?
Well, it's all about the soil. You know, when we first moved in here, this place had been a commercial chemical fertilized greenhouse. It had been abandoned for 3 years, which was good because all those poisons decompose. So we were able to get it certified organic because of that time interval. But it didn't change the fact that the soil was destroyed. Organic matter is what fuels all the good bacteria and funguses in the soil, and if there's not enough food, they don't, explode in population. So what we've done over time is we've made unbelievable amounts of compost, and we have turned that into the soil year after year. So now we are up to 15% organic matter. That's the secret, how we got these guava trees here to be this tall in only 2 years. Normally that's 5 years worth of growth. So it's all about the soil, and I'm one of the experts in the world on regenerative agricultural soils and how we bring soil back to life and make it produce more than it ever has.
That's incredible that you've been able to bring the organic matter in your soil from 1 to 15% during your time here. How do you keep it organic? How do you keep yourself from using pesticides or other harmful chemicals to continue growing these things without having the pest issues that
Well, if
people
we go
have?
over here, I'll show you.
Okay.
The thing is, I use nothing to kill bugs here ever. So I try to figure out how to enlist nature's help in taking care of my, let's say, pest problems. So when I first got here, this place was just disgustingly full of bugs from the past farmer that used chemical stuff. It's not a bad thing, because I don't think of things as bad or good. I think of surpluses and shortages. I have a surplus of bugs. That's got to be a good thing. So how do I make it work? Well, what I did is I took a lantern, I put it up in the greenhouse, and I let the light shine out the door. What saw the light were frogs. And frogs know that bugs go to light. So they come hopping over here. They see the pile of rocks and they say, oh, condominium, jacuzzi, I'm moving in. I've got hundreds of thousands of frogs in the greenhouse. And they eat the bugs, all of the bugs, so there are no bugs left. And they poop them out, 20 tons of bugs per acre. I don't have to turn that compost. I don't have to move it here. I don't have to put it on the ground. The frogs poop it out all over the greenhouse. 20 tons of bugs they eat every year, and it becomes great fertilizer for the crops, and I have no bugs.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
So you've taken what could be a 20,000 ton pest invasion, and without any use of chemicals, just using nature itself with frogs,
Yep.
you have turned that into not a pest, but actually a benefit. You've turned it into fertilizer for your garden here.
And that's how everything on this farm works, is that kind of, oh, listen, there's the frogs. So these vines here, they make these fruits that look a little bit like a tomatillo, a paper-covered fruit inside. And when you go ahead and split it open, you'll see there's a nice golden fruit, which is called goldenberry. Ace, you got to take a taste of this. You're going to be really surprised.
And these are also like a superfood, right?
They
these
are
incredibly
a superfood.
Good for you.
So many nutrients.
So unique. I couldn't even begin to describe it.
It's sweet, it's sour, it's something else, And at $13.50 a pound, goldenberry is a $400,000 a year income. And this is where we're going, because this is much more resilient and guaranteed to make a good profit. We're standing in front of our experimental wasabi patch. The experiment has been successful. We've actually figured out how to grow the hardest crop in the world to grow as determined by everyone. It's really quite a trick, and we figured out how to do it. But let's take a leaf here, because this is where the wasabi flavor comes from. Now, you're probably used to eating wasabi in a Japanese restaurant, but that little pile of paste that they put on your plate is actually horseradish, Chinese mustard, and green tea, because they don't want to pay $200 a pound for real wasabi, which has a superior flavor and is not such a punch in the nose. Go ahead and give us her taste test. Chew it all up, the whole thing, not
the
just
whole
a little.
thing?
Yeah. And you'll get a little burst in about 3, 2, 1. There it is. So it's kind of spicy.
It's not as bad as like I was imagining eating like a whole ball of the paste in the Japanese restaurants,
so
but it has
different.
It's different, but you still get that same more subtle flavor.
And there are like 20 or 30 flavors in it, you know, that kind of cascade. So it's the real thing. So people have been learning that the real thing is worth getting, and we can sell all we grow at $200 a pound. This substance has recently been studied in Japan with a very good study. People from 60 to 80, 1 capsule a day of wasabi. And they wanted to see if it had any effect at all, because there were rumors that it was really good. After 90 days, they tested the people for their short-term memory, long-term memory, and working memory compared to before they took it. And they found dramatic results in only 90 days. It's even been shown to alleviate some of the symptoms of dementia and Alzheimer's. So another way to run this business, which we've been considering, is we plant this whole greenhouse and we harvest the leaves in a rotation. We extract the valuable products and we go ahead and powder it and put it in capsules as a supplement. We can probably make 20,000 doses per bay, so there's 9 bays, 180,000 doses. And, you know, how much would you pay to help your mother, you know, remember better? $5 a pill? Probably. This is really where the action is at.
Well, so you actually can monetize both the leaf for the supplement and the root for the paste?
That's right.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. So these are the kind of things we invent here, and these are the kind of opportunities that come up routinely, and we have to choose between the ones that we have the time and capital to exploit.
All right.
Well, this property is probably the most regenerative farm anywhere possibly on the planet, but certainly in the United States. What we do here is quite unique, and it's quite a treasure. You know, as a farmer, I can tell you, growing carrots, 40,000 pounds an acre, but only 75 cents a pound. Now, we get about the same amount of pounds per acre from, say, golden berries, which are worth $13.50 a pound. Those of you who are quick at math will see it's over 400,000 per acre for golden berries. And we have many other valuable crops like wasabi, which is $200 a pound currently and going up because there's only 3 growers who have figured it out in the United States. And there's other really valuable crops like turmeric, which we've grown for years, that generally bring us in about $300,000 an acre in a good year. So we don't grow carrots. We grow the stuff that matters.
All right, Dave, so right now we're in your event space, which is attached to your distillery. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've used this space and also what some other potential uses are for this really beautiful kind of industrial warehouse that we're in?
We've done all kinds of events here, from singing events to, you know, specialty food events and all kind of social events like weddings and that kind of stuff too. But this has potential to be bigger. Right now, we can have almost 150 people in the room. Wow. In seats. But when it comes to round tables and food events, we can fit 80. But we can do much more. Behind me, there's 35 more feet of space that we can put under cover and make it much bigger in this direction. And going into shrinking the distillery room, we can get another 800 square feet there. This could be a 200-person event, easily accommodated.
You also do a lot of tours of your farm, both for the general public, specialty food events, such as like sushi tastings, wasabi tastings. What other types of tours or educational opportunities are there?
In terms of the community, we do lots of work with the schools, taking kids of different ages to see what agriculture is all about and actually get them hands-on and getting dirty. There's so much more we can do with a little bit of upgrading what we do here and a little bit of capital put into it. We could have some pretty rocking events here.
Could you tell me really quick about this distillery that is in the room behind us? How many gallons of alcohol can you make in there? And tell me a little bit about how that distillery fits in with the functions of the rest of your organic farm.
Sure, the distillery, the making of alcohols is a process where you take stuff that has starches or sugar and you ferment it with yeast, and they eat up all that sugar and they put out carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide is 1 million pounds a year of green carbon dioxide, which we can direct through all of our greenhouses, and carbon dioxide plants breathe it in. So you can actually have 3 times the yield per square foot using carbon dioxide.
When you're creating the alcohol and the CO2 byproduct, you actually don't really have much capital that you have to infuse because you're using things like almond cores that you're getting for free or other types of waste product from other ag where you're actually picking it up, taking it off the hands of other farmers, so you don't even have to pay for the materials that you're using to convert into alcohol.
Well, it's better than that. We charge them to take it away because all that agricultural waste product can't go to the landfill anymore due to some new laws to prevent methane from being released from landfills and damaging the climate. So we make organic sanitizer with the organic alcohol. Only 3 companies in the whole world do it, and we're one of them. And there are many other things we do here that fit into niche markets that are extremely profitable. 1 gallon of 200 proof alcohol, pure alcohol, makes 13/5 of liquor. How much alcohol can we make? Currently, we can make about 90,000 gallons a year, but with a little bit of upgrading, we can make 150,000 gallons a year. When we sell it to perfume makers, we get $60 a gallon for it. And when we're talking about sanitizer, which requires a lot of marketing, it's $680 a gallon. So you can see that making liquor is a good thing. And this would be a great place to have a tasting room since we're on the tourist route of the county.
Absolutely, and it's all organic, which is kind of one of the best parts of it, and the fact that the byproducts go to feed the rest of the farm and help everything grow.
That's right.
Tremendously. There's one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and let's go check out your fertilizer area where you're doing something really cool.
Okay.
So we're here in kind of a cool part of the farm, and this is just a small piece, but a great example of the potential to monetize the things that are going on here. So tell me a little bit about where we are and what the possibilities are with this part of the farm.
Well, this is our stage 1 fertilizer factory, which looks like a lot of equipment behind me. And what we take is the leftover liquid from distillation. See, once we take the alcohol out, all the other goodies that were in that plant mixture are still there, and that's a good start for fertilizer. We take that liquid and we put it here, and then we take tons of waste fish, which would otherwise go to the landfill, and we grind that up. We then dissolve it, make it into fish emulsion, and that is a super common garden fertilizer and farm fertilizer around the country. A 55-gallon drum used to be $250 a barrel. Now it's $1,500. And we can make 6 a day with even this little primary plant, but we can expand to 50 barrels a day. And I'll let you do the math. That's a fair bit of change.